So hi everybody, I'm Rich Schneider, the president of Norwich University, and today is May 14th, it's Thursday. And we're doing this video primarily for the faculty and staff, but really I want the whole Norwich family to understand how we're thinking about reopening school. One of my highest priorities is the safety of our students, our faculty and our staff, and then our community of Northfield and Central Vermont. And I have to hold all of those groups in my mind as we prepare to open school. The governor has asked me to serve on a task force and be responsible for working out and planning how we open all the colleges in Vermont, not just Norwich, because I will only be your president for about 2 more weeks, and then thankfully Mark Anarumo will assume the presidency on the 1st of June. But I'll continue to help Mark and all the other presidents in Vermont to get ready for the fall. So let me speak about both those activities, having the workforce return to campus and then preparing for the fall. I've set up 2 task forces basically. The first one is how do we bring the employees back? And I'm not really talking about faculty in this role. I had decided about a month and a half ago that all of our instruction this summer would be online. It took a while to prepare everything. We didn't know enough in April when I had to make that decision, and it's still the right decision. We're doing that online because we're not prepared yet to have them on campus. So all of that instruction, and every year summer school grows in attendance, which is wonderful. It helps students get ahead or make up for a class that they didn't do well in the first time. But how do I bring the staff back safely? And our director of HR, Dana Moss, is leading a group of a team planning that under the guidance of CDC and our chief medical officer of our state. We'll have our report to the governor by the 20th, and I'm hoping that that will be approved by the medical team that he's assembled to review these plans, and then we'll be good to go to start to phase in to bring people back. And we're going to say phased in because we want to make sure we're keeping track of, is anybody sick? And this really has to do with testing. And testing has gotten more available now. It's still not completely available. Certainly not available enough for the students to come back yet in the fall. But for right now, we think there's enough testing. Then we have to do treating if people test positive, and we have to do tracking. It's a lot easier to do tracking with a couple hundred employees. It's a lot more difficult to track 2,400 teenagers. The second group I set up to do their planning is the task force of reopening in the fall. That is co-chaired by Greg Matthews and Kathy Frey. Both of these groups, how do I open for business and get the workforce back, and the task force on how do I get open for the fall, are all being guided and influenced by Sandra Affinito, our wonderful provost and chief operating officer. I put Sandra as the continuing force as Mark and I shift the presidency, so she is responsible for both these groups to give them the guidance they need to get their work done. Then when I shift out of being the president, I'm going to represent all of higher education like I mentioned before, but I've got your plan in my back pocket as the role model for all. I am planning to be open in the fall at full strength. If we can't do it here in Vermont, the 3rd safest state in the Republic, no one's going to be able to do it. I think we have a unique branding position and market strength to say Vermont is open for safe business. You can send your son and daughter for a regular college experience, and why don't you think about coming to Norwich? So I think that's one of the things that's driving me even after my retirement. I'm going to be working just as hard to make sure that that happens, because it has to happen for Norwich. And I want it to happen for Norwich, but we have to do it safely. So I established a second group, a task force, to do nothing but plan for them to come back safely. So we're working on all of those details. So I've given 4 planning models to that task force. The first one is my preference. I want to be open for business. 2,400 of them. The other plan is, okay, I can't have them living here. and then we'll be all online. We have to do it better than we did it in the spring. Although we didn't do it badly, we can still improve. So those are the two boundary conditions. Open, everything runs as normal, except we may be wearing masks, we may be getting tested. Some of us may be teaching online because we're living with people with suppressed immune systems. Other of us are in the classroom, or maybe the classroom's only half full. The other two models are in the middle. One is that we'll all come back, and we're going to have to pivot sometime in the fall or sometime in the spring, just like we did this year, because the virus is going to come raging back. And the second time it comes back is usually worse than the first time. The other model I've asked people to think about is the half-strength model. And my guidance to them, the commander's guidance to them, was maintain the essence of Norwich as best you can, but only be at half strength. What do I mean by that? It means only one student in every bedroom or barracks room. And we have about 1,079 racks and dorm rooms and barracks rooms. So that's about half strength because we have a couple hundred commuter students. Now, I've given them guidance that my preference is that all the freshmen stay all year. And you balance the rest of the school on the upperclassmen. Perhaps all the ROTC students have to stay. We are a senior military college. It is the essence of what we are. We have to get them commissioned. How do we do that? And I think the colonels are going to want them here, and they're going to want to be here. I think the NCAA will tell us how to play sports. I'm not worrying about that. So there's things that we can control, gang, and there's things we can't control. And I don't want you laboring over the things we can't control. I want you really working on the things we can control and make better. We have to be flexible. Partridge was the most innovative academic America has ever seen. We need to adopt that Partridge spirit of being flexible and being innovative and trying and experimenting and having a lot of grit. I mean, he had everybody against him, including the President of the United States. And he created a wonderful school that you are at and working at. We need a resurgence of that kind of spirit to get through another tough couple years, because this is not going to be over in July. So this planning process of the 4 different scenarios and the 4 different budgets are done for a reason. It's so that we can pivot quickly. We know what we're going to do if something else happens. That's the way you stay strong. So how do we do it smart? You need to be creative, flexible. You need to have a lot of grit. So that's what's happening on the Hill, a lot of planning, and within a week or 2, people start returning to work. Let's do it smart, let's do it safe. I'm counting on those 2 committees to give us great recommendations that eventually our governor will approve. And I look forward to that day of seeing you back on campus and getting ready for our students. Norwich forever.